What if I told you there was an unsung Seahawks star on their roster? A guy who'd only played 20 snaps of non-special teams and yet was balling out. Yep, that's 6th round pick Jerrick Reed. Reed is demanding attention in the way that past Seahawks have. Special teams. He leads the Seahawks in special teams tackles with 7 on the season, and he's only 2 behind NFL leader George Odom. And Odom is a 49ers defensive back, meaning that he's played an extra game. Pete Carroll in the preseason was kind of disappointed with Reed's contribution in special teams, but he is proving Seattle's decision to draft him completely correct. Coming out of New Mexico, he did a lot of stuff in special teams. He became a favorite of Ryan Florence's, the area scout who kind of was responsible for scouting him. And John Schneider described his play style as an angry little elf. As you'll see from this tape, which is mainly punt coverage montage, you can kind of see that translating. And he's played over 50% of Seattle's special teams snaps in every single game. And he's taken over 60% in 4 of 7 games. He is balling out on special teams. We're going to dive into it. Punt coverage, punt blocking, and kickoff coverage. So as you saw from that montage, Reed's doing a pretty damn good job covering punts as a gunner, even though a lot of the time it's hard graft for little reward. You know, there's a lot of variables at play. There's a lot of stuff where, you know, you're dependent on the punter, you're dependent on the returner, you're dependent on quite a few things to actually get involved. Now, to start off with, this Browns play looks pretty similar, where Reed is able to run around the outside of the punt corner, and he shows up big on this side, and the returner ends up running in towards the Seahawks traffic. But this is actually impressive from Reed. This is essentially the same as setting the edge of like a defensive play, where if he doesn't show up on the outside like he does here, then the returner is able to get the corner here. This is basically forcing this returner by winning the position here up to where the help is. They've got some unblocked guys via the scheme they're running here, and it's kind of the design of the play is for Reed to force all of this back to his guys. So he does his job nicely here. You can see at this point the ability to really kind of bend through and apply force to this guy while driving the legs is impressive stuff. Now, through games, his variation of release plans is really getting him open. So here with this inside move, he's able to get the corner thinking, I need to open up this way. And then he's able to juke back to the outside, get clear separation and is free. The returner ends up actually letting the ball bounce into the end zone, and it's a touchback, which again is that thing of being dependent on the punt. But this is a crafty release plan. He gets wide open. He creates this daylight for himself. And if the ball had been caught, he's right there to make a tackle. If the ball had been shorter, he might have been able to down it. It's very impressive to getting this close to the football, given he was on the far side of the field to where they're punting towards. And now finally, the Arizona game and proof that, yes, this can result in tackles too. Here is Reed on the right-hand side as the gunner on this side. Runs all the way around the outside of the corner. Knows that he's got a really long field given how backed up they are. And I like this little subtle variation in his plan to start wide, go tight to close space to then try and be able to hold his line outside, get outside of the corner, which he does. Look how he's then able to bend through this contact. Basically downing the returner, isn't he, with no yards added, no extra yards after the catch. Very, very impressive play. Almost held, actually. Nice end zone look here at the speed. And then the bending through, the rip through at the end to get off the block. Here we go, opposite angle on the left. You can see the handwork to get those arms off him, to get the outside arm involved to really start bending this through. And then the rip through towards the end to get off the block, get the hands off him. And then a really textbook tackle as well. Shoulder contact, near pec contact. Near pec contact on the returner. Great stuff. Reed's also excelled in kickoff coverage. So here, he's the left second innermost guy on this kickoff coverage. And teams are having to pay serious attention to him And Seattle's also schemed some stuff up. So here, this is a nice example of how he's able to go and find the football. There's an element of patience, but he's holding his initial lane, winning on the blocker, which is very important, lane integrity. Then some dancing, but still staying on the inside where his initial lane was. He ends up getting sort of double teamed here. But eventually, as the returner clearly cuts past, he's able to swipe back, almost two-gapping on this play, and find the football. It'd be fairly easy on this play for Reed, who, good speed getting downfield, by the way. It'd be fairly easy for him to get into some trouble. But good read of this block, getting inside. Look, Rattigan's got this outside area, getting inside on the block, staying patient, not moving himself out of the play, dealing with the combination block, dancing with the near hip of that returner, and eventually getting outside and being the guy who makes the tackle. Now, he's just really good at finding the football. So here you can see he's the right innermost guy. And his ability to see the daylight and just take his shot inside, which I believe would also be partly schemed up here. Very, very impressive. Finds the ball. He misses the tackle, but he ends up blowing up this block here and kind of ruining what the Cardinals had planned. If you look at this, they end up having a lead out here. Reed's presence right here kind of kills that idea of the play. It's almost like a lead sweep, and he gets unblocked through, kind of ruins the kickoff. And yeah, you'd like him to make the tackle, but taking that block on, making it cut up inside, that gives Seattle unblocked hitters right to the path. It's like 1 extra yard. With Seattle kicking in this direction where he started, I imagine this is a schemed play where he's allowed to go and kind of take a shot knowing he's getting covered from this side. And yeah, impressive stuff, good converging. And then finally, I've said that they scheme stuff up for him. This is a good example. So Reed here's on the right, the furthest right, and here's Devin Bush to his inside. Now, this is a really big hit, and it's really impressive stuff. Essentially, Bush is making him right. So Bush is going to be the contained player. Reed's allowed to dip to his inside and get the ball. So Bush takes the outside. Bush plays off him, goes inside. So Bush gets to the outside. Reed knows he can take his shot to the inside where the returner is, beats this block too fast, and then smack. What a way to set the tone on the opening kickoff. He was listed on the injury report with a shoulder injury. Possible this is where it happened here. Hopefully he's all right to suit up this Sunday, but I mean, this is exactly what you want from your special teams play. Bush getting outside, kind of looping inside, almost like a tackle end game. You can see how it confuses the blockers because suddenly this guy who was thinking he had Bush suddenly has to pick up Reed, and Reed darting inside has too much speed. It's quite a tough block for the guy who started on this side of the field to have to come all the way outside and pick up Reed from, he started back here. Pretty tough, and so it proved. Finally, there's a blocking element, isn't there, to special teams? And Reed has shown up in that area too, as an up back or protecting for his punt returner. So something that they were doing in this Bengals game was showing this overload look, having Reed kind of act as though he was going to rush to try and influence the protection, hold someone in a bit longer, and then drop back and get depth. So here, you notice how he hustles down the field. His corner's losing on this side of the field, which is Mike Jackson. He's also got a corner losing on this side of the field too. He picks up one of these guys, and if one of them would manage to win, there's a chance that this play gets sprung free, which is something you're going to see in a minute. So here he hustles all the way down the field, as he should, but then picks up this guy. That's a solid enough block if the other corner hadn't lost. You see here how he's scans over here to check on the progress here, scans over here, sees that that's lost, knows that the wide side of the field is on this side, picks this guy as the most dangerous. It's a pretty solid block, just a shame that both corners, Mike Jackson included, lost. Similar thing here, Reed's down here, then he gets back quicker. They're kind of using him in an up back role on this play. Ball gets punted, Reed's back here. Reed knows the reason Seattle did it was to give him an extra guy. So Cody Thompson picks up on this side. Reed's then able to help out on this side of the field. Solid enough block at speed. Difficult one though. And the guy kind of gets to his inside. But this recovery ability, It's not a block in the back when they turn towards you. Here comes DJ Dallas with the lane. Cody Thompson did a really nice job on this side. They've got the blocks up. There's kind of a nice wall here. There's a nice wall here. And Dallas able to get some serious return yardage on the play. Here's a good look. Jackson, knowing he's basically able to pass this off to Reed. He then scans back to go and get the number 51. Reed's able to get a good initial strike, then secure the block. There's the wall. You can see how there's a nice lane down the kind of numbers area of the field. There's Jackson's block. There's Reed securing his man. Really good stuff. This didn't just happen in the Bengals game. So here's Reed. Looks like they're playing their normal defense almost, given Arizona, remember, they faked earlier in the game. Here, dropping off after clearing that it's not a fake. Great awareness to look to his side, see that there's a rough rep happening with the corner on this side of the field. Good block in the side. And without that block in the side, DJ Dallas's creativity doesn't work because he's tackled immediately. Instead, the block in the side enables Dallas to do his amazing thing. Here's a good look. Nice scan to locate that there's a guy struggling on the outside. Hustles downfield. Great block in the side. And then DJ go to work. And also you can see how this kind of energizes the sideline. Look how pumped up everyone gets after the big return. This was kind of a momentum changing play or a real turning point. When it comes to special teams honors, I'm not exactly sure how these accolades are given out, but from watching the tape and also statistically in the very basic total tackles, but also the kind of blocks that Reed's making, he's got to be up there nearing the over halfway point of the NFL season. Now, as I said at the start, as we've seen in the past, this has been a pathway for Seattle players to get onto the field on defense. Reed's only played 20 snaps, which is 4% of Seattle's defensive plays. But down the line, Seattle, next offseason, they have decisions to make with Julian Love, with Jamal Adams, and Quandre Diggs isn't the youngest. Reed is kind of in that free safety mold, and he did impress us when playing preseason defense. So really good signs that Seattle may have got a great value pick in the 6th round of the draft. And you already knew this was a special type of player when Reed got that ski mask out after the Detroit game. How could you forget? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do like it, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, share it amongst your friends, put it in the forums, put it on Twitter, social media, etc., etc. Also, check out Griff's video on new Seahawks defensive lineman Leonard Williams.